Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Exploring Photography. I'm Mark Wallace. Today we're going to be looking at Evoto AI's new color match tool. It allows us to have consistent color across our projects. We can define styles by taking colors from a reference photo and applying it to any photo in our projects in Evoto. And it does this in a really smart way. So it's not just taking colors from one photo and applying it to another. It's looking for things like skin tone from one photo and applying it to skin tone to another photo, looking at background saturation and contrast and applying that to background on the second photo. It's not just saying take this stuff and smack it over the top. It's doing things in a really intelligent way. So let's dive in. There are 3 ways to do this. And before I forget, before we even get started, make sure you hop into Evoto and click check for update. You want to do that because I'm going to be showing you some features that were just released, specifically the reference window. It's really awesome. So make sure you have the latest version of Evoto so you can keep up with what I'm doing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at how we can apply these colors. Now that we do this by taking a reference photo, we can take a photo that we have on our hard drive, we can take a photo that we already have in a project in Evoto. We take that reference photo, these are the colors that we want to apply to our target photo. We take these and apply these over here. So we can take the reference photo from our hard drive or from Evoto, and we can do that in a few different ways. So let's begin by working on this image of Destiny here. You can see if we zoom in to 100%, that her skin tone is pretty darn pink. And so what I want to do is perhaps take this and give this more of a golden hour look, warm everything up. And so what I can do here is go over to my color adjustments, click on this triangle, and you're probably familiar with AI color looks, these sort of looks that come in here that we can apply to our images already. This is similar to that, but I think it's even better. So we can get our reference image in by either uploading this from our hard drive or using something that's already in Evoto. Let's begin by using things on our hard drive. So I'm going to click this. I've already created a folder with a bunch of different images that have some interesting colors. And so I'm going to be looking through here. I want something that's a golden hour look. I think this looks pretty good. Notice that her skin tone is more golden, the background is highly saturated, it's really contrasty, and so this is what I want to apply to my image. So all I have to do is click on that and then say open. This is going to generate this, then it's going to be processing. You can see this is processing everything, and pow, there it is. The before and after, you can see that the background is more contrasty, it's got that golden hour look. You can see that her skin tone is now more amber. It matches that reference photo that we brought in. And you can see that it now shows up over here on the right-hand side under my looks. And we can also do things like we can take the amount of the color and the tonality and we can bring that up or down. Or we can just take the tone, in other words, the contrast, the shadows, highlights, those types of things. We can take those up or down. Or we can take the color up and down. So we have some controls there. We also can do some masking. So we're going to be doing masking a little bit later on. For now, we're just going to keep it simple. Okay, so we have this image that we were able to create a brand new color look really, really quickly. I love that. But I'm going to reset this because we have more stuff to do. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take this back to the original, the one that I started with. There we go. Okay, I'm going to be working with this, so I'm going to bring that back. This, by the way, this reference photo stays in Evoto. Now we can apply that to any photo in the future from any project. It works like a preset. Once we have that in Evoto, we can use it over and over in the future. It's really amazing. So I've got this golden hour look. I'm going to keep that in there. Let's look at the second thing we can do, which is create a color match from a preview. What's a preview? Well, if I go down here to my thumbnail and click on something, that's a preview. Anything that I'm looking at is a preview image. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a color match from preview. So I'm going to go over here, create color match from preview. This is the image I want to use as my reference. I'm going to click that. It's going to generate that. Now it's over here in the right-hand side. By default, it's just bringing in the name of the image. That's not really interesting. So I'm going to click this little ellipsis here. I'm going to rename that. I'm going to call this gray tone. Okay, now I have this new color match that I can apply these colors and this tonality to any other image, and I have an image that I think this will work with. So I'm going to go back to my home. I'm going to go to my new fall features catalog, and here is an image that we worked on a couple of videos ago, and notice that this has things applied to it. It's got blemish removal, it's got some AI head adjustments to it, it's got some color adjustments to it. So I don't want to wipe out all that stuff. So if I used a preset, it would just overwrite everything I'd done. It would undo all of that stuff. If I used the old color looks, it would also overwrite some of this. This is more intelligent. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over here to my color adjustments. I'm going to use this gray tone that we just created. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to go and process all these colors, and it will apply that. It takes a couple of seconds, and then bammo. Look at that. That is so cool. So we have that look. You can see that we still preserved all of the stuff that we did with the head changing, the tilt of the head, the skin retouching, the blemish removal, all of that stuff has been preserved. We just applied the colors and made that look so much cooler. So I love how that looks. So we were able to take something from a shoot in our project, apply it to a different shoot and a different project, all inside Evoto, and keep that there. We can use that for the future. We can apply all of that stuff. Okay, let's look at something else. This is something that is brand new in Evoto. It is the new reference window, and this allows us to look at one image right next to another one, and then as we're editing, see if it matches the first one, and it's got built-in color matching as well. So if we look at the last photo in this, I'm going to close this, you can see that we have nice neutral skin tones. If we look at the very first image, this one, you can see that her skin tones are pretty pink. So what I want to do is I want to take the last image here, this one, and apply these neutral skin tones to this first image, which has really pink skin tones. So how do we do that? So we first open the image that we want to work on, which is this image, the one that has pink skin. And then right down here in the lower right-hand corner, we now have this new thing, this view mode. If I click on that, I can show a reference view. So I'm going to click on reference view. Now I have two images side by side. The one on the right is my active. You can see it says active. And on the left is my reference. So to change the reference, all I have to do is option drag. So I'm going to drag in that, drag in this last image here, the one with neutral tones. Let's just get these right next to each other. And you can see how different those color tones are. She looks cross-eyed when I do that. But you can see how different those color tones are. So we want to take this neutral color tone and apply it to this pink tone. So all I have to do is right up here, there's this color match button. I will click on that. It's going to take from our reference and apply it to our target. So it's processing all of this stuff. It takes a couple of seconds, and then bammo, it's done. And notice up here, we have a new color reference. So in my looks, we have that. And if we zoom in here on these side by side, you can see that now, look at that. Those are exactly the same. Those skin tones are the same, which is really cool. I don't want to look too freaky, but I'm just showing you that this is absolutely the same. So we were able to just match skin tone to skin tone, background to background. Everything looks the same if I fit these in. Look at how consistent these two things are. These were shot at a different time of day, a different location, different color temperature. We were able to match and make those look great, and even save that for the future. I can rename this to something like, I don't know, cool tones, something like that. Now we have that, we can use that forever. Okay, so that is at a high level how color match works. Take a reference photo, apply it to a destination photo. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a deeper dive and look at how we can control some of these things and apply one look to another and see how this is different than a preset. So let's go in here. I've got some things that I was working on. So I did a photo shoot for Evoto, And I'm going to go back here to the loop view so I can see this. So we shot these really cool images of these bikini shots, but I also shot some stuff in my patio in a backyard in Colombia. Similar stuff, very similar stuff. But these photos here of Sarah, the problem with them is that her skin tone is a little too red for me. The background's a little too saturated for me. I want these images that I shot of Sarah to match the other shots that we did on a different day with a different model. So I'm going to go back into the other images that we shot, this bikini shoot that I did for Evoto, and I want to take this look and apply it to the other images that we just shot. So let's first understand the difference between a color match and just a preset. So if I go in here, I'll take this. This is a really cool image. This has a preset that is called Sandra Bikini Shade. That's what I used here for this. If I go in here and take a different image, this one doesn't have any adjustments to it. If we look at the first one, you can see that it's got some noise applied. It's desaturated the background. You can see that it's got blemish removal. If I do before and after, it's got the face features that are turned on. So there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in this image. So if I go to this one, so you can see that her skin needs to be fixed up. If I go in here to this one and I just say Sandra Bikini Shade, that's the exact same settings that I used, bam. So it's fixed all of her skin tone, it's added the grain, it's desaturated the background. All of that stuff is really cool, but it would have overridden anything that I had before. So if I even went in here and I said Sarah G. Bushes, applied that, you'll see that the skin tone is different, the film grain is different. If I say Sandra Poole, any of that stuff, it's going to overwrite the settings of the skin tone, it's going to overwrite the settings of the color, it's going to overwrite everything. And so we don't want to do that. With AI color matching, it's going to preserve the things that you've done with blemish removal. It's going to preserve things with AI sculpting that you've done, any kind of teeth correction, whitening, eye whitening, all of that stuff. It's going to be preserved. It's going to just change skin tones and background and tonality, things like that, and we can still control it. So it's different than applying a preset, because a preset just overwrites everything like this, where she became really orange. We don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this image. This is the image that we want to use the colors from. I will go over here and I am going to say create color match from preview. So I'll grab that. Now I've got this, and I'm going to call this green look. So it's got a nice green look. Let's go back over here to this photo shoot we did with Sarah. Let's get this image, and let's just try these things. So the first thing we can do is let's go and do the Sandra Bikini Shade preset. I'll just apply that. And notice the tonality is wrong. She's overexposed. The hair looks nasty. The background doesn't work because the exposures weren't the same. The color temperatures weren't the same. So that preset isn't going to work. It's not going to work for this scenario. That's where the presets have a downfall, because you can't adjust the color temperature from two different starting points and get to the same result, or the same tonality from two different starting points and get the same result. So presets work pretty darn good, but if they're oranges to apples, they just don't work out the way you think. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reset this image. I know I have this, I have a Sarah G. Bushes here, so I'm going to reset everything, reset all the effects. Sarah Bushes. So now I have all of my stuff. That looks pretty cool. Instead of doing the preset, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, apply this green look, and it's going in, it's processing everything. You can see that right there, processing color adjustments. And then when it's done, bam, we've preserved all of our looks. And now we have a skin tone that matches what our preview was. The other thing that we can do over here that's really nice is on the right-hand side, we can click this ellipsis and we can say set as a reference. Now we can use that reference window that we used earlier to check to see if our new image matches our other image. And so you can see that the skin tones are matching, the tonality is matching, the background is matching, all that stuff's matching, but the new image didn't bring over the film grain and some other things that we didn't need. So that is really, really cool. Okay, so that is something that I really, really like. The other thing that we need to understand is we know how to get stuff from the hard drive. We know how to get stuff from preview. We know how to use the reference window. We now need to learn how to use masking. How can we really dive in and control all of this stuff and make sure that we don't overdo or underdo? So for example, this image here, I think the skin tones and maybe the exposure on this is just a little bit dark. So what I can do is I can go in here to these adjustments. I can click this. I can take the tone down just a little bit and the color down just a little bit, something like that. I can control those independent of each other and get something that is perfect. We can even do more than that. We can really dial in what's happening. So let's do one more thing. This one is really fun. Let's go back into Destiny Aurora here, this project. We're gonna go to this last image, and I want to really change this in a dramatic way to really illustrate what's going on with this color match tool. And so what I want to do is have a totally different look in the background and to change the tonality of her face and show you how we can control everything down to every single specific detail in the image and how these color looks are applied. So what I'm going to do here is let's go into new fall features. I have this really awesome image that we created in a previous video. I want to use this as my new look. So I'm going to say create a color match from preview. It's going to generate that. I'm going to rename this to Nikki Blue. Awesome. Now I can use that forever and ever. Let's take this look now and let's go back here to Destiny Aurora, this last image. Let's apply it. So this is going to do some really crazy things. So when I apply that, remember it's looking for like-minded things, skin tones to skin tones, backgrounds to backgrounds, eyes to eyes, etc. And look at this. You can see that is exactly what has happened in this image. Let me make this into a reference window and let's set this to our reference so we can see exactly what's going on here. Notice if we go in on the Nikki image, she has really dark eyes. Notice how these eyes have been darkened to try to match that. The skin tone is really orangey. Notice how her skin tone has changed from that pinkish look to this orangey look. The background is really blue. It matches this blue over here. This red is showing up over here. So what we're seeing is these tones are applied over here, the saturation and the tone. But for me, it's too much on Destiny's face. I don't want all of that on her face. I think it's just too much. I love the background though. So I want to control that. So what we can do over here, before we had just everything more or less, or just the tone more or less, or just the color more or less. But what if we want to go to a specific place and apply or remove these color adjustments? Well, we can go up here to the pencil right there. That means that there's a mask that we can apply. I will click on that and it will say masking. Now I can go here to the person. I can choose individual things. So I can say just the skin, her face skin. So just that, just her body skin, just the whites of her eyes, those types of things. Or I can just say the entire person. So I'm going to say the entire person. I'm going to take the color, take that down. It's going to reprocess this. And then bam, you can see that we can also take the tone down. Let's remove the tone. It's going to reprocess that. That's going to fix these eyes here. So we're able to go in and change just the stuff on Destiny. Just the tone, just the things on her face skin, on her background, that kind of stuff. And so we have the ability to do that. Now for this, I think she still needs a little bit of work. I think she needs something in her eyes. I think she needs a little bit of different exposure. Well, the nice thing about this is we can still go in. We can still go into our controls over here on the right-hand side for color adjustment. I can go into masking. I can say, hey, just this person, let's take that up just a little bit. And so it's going to bring that exposure up just a little bit. I can still go in here and I can go down to the eyes. I can add some catch lights in her eyes. And so we have full control when we make these color adjustments to say, just apply this in the most intelligent way that you can, face to face, skin tone to skin tone, background to background, tonality to tonality, make it match. Then we can go in and say, you know what, I don't like how this color match is applied to this specific area. We can take that down or up. And then we can even still go in and use our masking to adjust, just like we always have been able to fine tune exactly what we've gotten. And so this is a radically different photo. So there's the before, there's the after. We were able to use a color match to take colors from one image that was really dramatically different, apply it to this, and get a really interesting look. There are so many different ways that you can use this color match feature. I think you should dive in, try doing different color matches from different images on your hard drive. Try perhaps using a scenic photo on a portrait or a portrait on a scenic photo. Try seeing what you can do with this, because the more you play with it, the more you see the possibilities unfold. It is a game changer. I absolutely love this, and I think we could spend, I don't know, another hour or two just playing with images, but we're not going to. I want to thank you for watching this. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe so I can do more and more videos. I want to thank the channel members for supporting this channel. Without them, I couldn't be making content. Also, I have included links in the description of this video so you can download Evoto. Make sure you get the best deals, discount codes, all of that kind of stuff. It's in the description of this video. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you again next time.